Hello, hello, hello. Mike Baxter here from Hebrew Travel. And today I want to talk to you all about Sweden, that wonderful country in Northern Europe, part of the triple of Norway, Sweden, and then Finland. We've talked about Norway before. Today we're going to talk about Sweden, and in the future we'll talk a little bit more about Finland. But Sweden is that country that's right in the middle. So let's just jump right into that. All right, so let's pull up our handy dandy map. So here's our map. We are located in Queensbury. This is where our office is primarily at. So we have clients from all over the U.S. and all over the world, but primarily for this big region is where we're sending people out of. And to go to Sweden, of course, you're going across the Atlantic. So you're going to fly out of your bigger cities, most likely to like London or something like that. You could fly out of New York City, Boston, Hartford. Hopefully here in the future, be able to fly out of Montreal when you get back across the border relatively easy post COVID. So, but yeah, so we're here in Queensbury. We'll scale out here. This is the big Northeast here, and there's Vermont. And of course, where we would be going would be straight across and a little bit north to Sweden. And as I said, we talked about Norway before. That's the one on the outside, really coastal. And then you have Sweden here pretty much in the middle of it, and then Finland. So today we're going to talk all about Sweden. And so we use this photo right here. We put that out on our social media earlier this week. We're filming this like the first week of March. I'm filming the first week of March 2022. And so we put this out on our social media platforms, just asking the question of where this is. And so we got some answers. A lot of people were kind of somewhere in Europe. And of course, now that I'm talking about this here on a Sweden video, you can guesstimate that this definitely is in Sweden, and it is in Stockholm. So the capital of Sweden, a beautiful picture here of Stockholm. And now we're going to kind of go into, I pick out a handful of reasons to visit Sweden or whatever country we're talking about. And there's a great big list. When we talk to our clients and when you do research on those countries, you'll find 10, 15, 20 reasons that people go. And so we just scale that down to a handful. And we kind of talk about that. And that's kind of, some of the reasons why our clients like to go there. So let's jump right into that. And so we're going to talk about some reasons to visit Sweden. And so our first reason, which is kind of a unique one, it's a little bit different than most other places that we would talk about in anywhere around the world. But I mean, specifically this one, they're pretty known for it. And that is camping. So when we talk about camping, why it's so interesting is they have a term, and it's alemansrätten. And so basically that's translated into all man's right. And so that means that nature is free for everybody, and the right is afforded to every person who is in Sweden, and that includes visitors. So it's kind of an interesting play, because you're basically able to, as long as you are responsible and respectful, you're able to kind of camp almost anywhere, as long as it's not even on like someone's property, as long as you're not affecting the property and you're not doing it for extreme amounts of time. But you are able to, to do that. And a lot of people take the advantage of that. In like June, they take like a month off holiday, and they kind of, because it's the summer solstice, and they celebrate that. And that's what a lot of people end up doing. They go camping, and they explore nature, and they take that time to be outside because the rest of the year it's kind of cold. So, during their summer months, that's what they're doing, and that's why camping has been a pretty big reason why some of our clients have gone. I believe we spent like large groups have gone there, and that's what they've done is the camping as they traveled up and down the coast, the inner coast of Sweden. So they spent some time just backpacking and kind of camping and doing that, and the people up there are fantastic, friendly, and all great like that. So our first one was our number 4 reason, just one of our reasons, but our first reason that we talked about was camping. So our second reason that I came up with, another reason why a lot of people like to go, and this is twofold: castles and palaces. So when we talk about castles and palaces, I mean, you can see castles and palaces in a lot of places. You can see castles in Ireland. You can see castles around here in the Northeast, somewhat, and then you can see you don't really see palaces in the U.S., but you could see it in other places. So it is interesting to find that you will find both castles and palaces in these areas. So it's kind of interesting. So here is one that we kind of highlight a little bit. This is on the eastern coast of Sweden. It's the Kalmar Castle. And so it's, majority of the times castles were built to be put on rivers or on ocean fronts or whatnot as protection areas. So that's kind of why you built them there. But yeah, I mean, you're going to find those castles there. And then, of course, as we said, there are palaces. You'll find palaces a lot of Europe. And, of course, there's no difference as far as what they are. But here's another great palace. This is the Drottningholm Palace, and this one is in Stockholm. You're probably not going to be able to go inside of it because this one belongs to the Swedish royal family. But this is the type of architecture and stuff you'll see all along a whole bunch of different places in Sweden. So it's really, a great idea, and a great way to see history and some culture in the Sweden landscape. So I definitely would want to go to Sweden myself. It's one of the places I've never been, and I would definitely want to see some castles and some palaces. So it would be on my bucket list. So we had camping, we had castles and palaces. Palaces, not a good mix. We don't want those. But sometimes you get that if you're walking a lot. But yeah, so our number 2 reason on our list, and this is probably the one that really gets me going. It's interesting to see, how people live their lives and then kind of what they eat. So number 2 is food. And they have some pretty cool stuff that I would definitely want to try. I mean, I'm a fan of them here in the US, but they're probably much different over there. And that would be these things. And this is kanelbullar. And it's kind of basically like a cinnamon bun. And so it, God, they look so good right now. I'm filming this kind of like lunchtime area. So it looks really good, but they have, the pastries and stuff are fantastic. So what they do is like in England, you have your afternoon tea. In Sweden, they call that a fika. So you have like an afternoon tea, but the pastries are the big things there, with the afternoon tea. So, stories of, that's kind of what gets you through the rest of the day. You get some sugar into you and that kind of thing, and have a nice pastry with, in the afternoon. So, another really interesting food that you find over there. And I'm taking this picture. I'm using this picture because it's pretty interesting. So this is a Smorgas Tarta. And so what that is, it's primarily like a sandwich cake, a savory cake. It's kind of similar to both like a sandwich and a layered cream cake. So as you see, the shape of this looks like a cake. Now this one, of course, is specific to some seafood with the toppings of shrimp and salmon or whatever else is on there. It looks like crawfish and that kind of thing. But I mean, you would cut this like a cake. So that's kind of interesting on how they do that. Pretty popular over there, and not just seafood based. So, but it'd be very interesting to see this and to eat that, and that's pretty credible and pretty cool looking. So, something to keep an eye out. And some of our clients have come back saying that they really enjoyed stuff like this. So it's pretty neat. And so we'll get to our main reason to visit Sweden. And it's not just our main reason, but this is just a reason that gets highlighted pretty often when people like to go over there. They tend to do it during the winter time, specifically for these events or these type of stuff to do, because it's you can do this in a lot of places around the world, but it's really unique to do it in Sweden. So our top thing would be winter sports, and so that includes, of course, ice skating, which is pretty unique here. We've seen this also in our Norway type stuff. So they do this over there in those Scandinavian countries. But I mean, can you imagine being able to skate on a lake like that where they clean it right off and you have a long lane to do that on? Really cool. But you have snowmobiling, ice hockey, cross country skiing, ice fishing, dog sledding, downhill skiing, all those things. Of course, we just had the Winter Olympics in China recently, in Beijing 2022. Sweden is pretty does pretty well in the Winter Olympics because they have all these Nordic sports. So it's a fantastic reason to visit. You can have a lot of fun over there in Sweden. So I mean, that's pretty much our basic reasons. A lot of our clients have gone to Sweden or want to go to Sweden. And so, if you have any questions, or if you've been to Sweden and want to just throw a comment on the video, we want to hear as much as possible. If you've ever tried any one of those foods, I definitely want to hear about it. So just leave a comment here. If you like our videos, feel free to like it. And of course, if you can, subscribe. Just helps us out. Make sure we're doing that. Now we're going to be doing like all these types of videos where we're doing it, talking about specific places, maybe reasons to visit, but we're going to be doing a whole bunch of different stuff too. Talking with some of our BDMs on some of our vendors, what they got coming out, talking with some of our agents on what they're working on. Just a whole bunch of different type of videos, and then be more specific on some stuff that, you have to be a little more specific with. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at Heber Travel, located, of course, in Queensbury, New York. We can definitely help you out with all your travel needs. And I say, even though COVID is really kind of breaking, specifically this week, it looks like it started to really break around the world where requirements were dropping. I still say use a travel agent, use a travel advisor. It doesn't cost you anything more mostly. And so it definitely can make your life easier, a lot less stressful, and make sure you're doing exactly what you need to do to be able to go wherever you want to go in the world. As soon as it's open or the requirements are up to whatever you're willing to deal with. So please reach out to us or any travel advisor, and thankfully be safe, have fun. Till next time, Mike's out.